difference in the outcome.
Yeah.
And those little changes are still on the table. Lots of viable options here. So we're not set in stone with any particular forecast.
Nope.
Thanks for choosing America's Morning Headquarters. We're here to keep you updated through the mid-morning hours.
Weather Channel has you covered, of course, from coast to coast.
And we will help you plan for the big events in your neighborhood. And of course, a lot of that depends on the weather. So let's start with where it's all beginning. Coming in right now to the west, we're going to have some snow here. There's some advisories all across parts of the southwest, including in Arizona.
Yeah, Four Corners region being impacted by some of that snow. The snow gets a chance to add up. Even parts of the Sierra, which haven't seen a ton of snow, will get on this action as well through the weekend.
And then it begins to spread eastward from here. So it's kind of a coast-to-coast event, right? I mean, it's not just impacting one part of the country. A lot of people are going to be really dealing with it.
And by the end of the week, we're going to see this thing, the energy from it. We'll start to see moisture come back into the southern U.S. and there will be snow on the colder side. And that includes in New Mexico, yes, but maybe even in the Texas Panhandle, Oklahoma. We've got some snow chances.
Yeah, and then, of course, we have it in the Northeast as well. And I think that's what a lot of people really want to know, what's going to happen for those of us in the Northeast, whether you're inland or along the coast.
Right.
This is a tricky setup. We're just on the edge here for a lot of ways.
This is the European model. To be fair, this is the snowier model.
Very much the snowy
So this looks
one.
incredibly impressive with the forecast. But there's versions of the European model that are run that give different outcomes. Some very snowy, some not. Most snowy. And then there's a GFS, which is not as snowy.
It is a forecaster's headache.
Yes,
it really is, because, I mean, a lot can change in a little time, and there's plenty of room still for wiggles to show up in the forecast that we don't know about yet. So let's talk about this uncertainty a little bit and talk about what we think is most likely to come, because this
pattern, but they've either been too warm or they've not had enough moisture. And so in terms of snowfall, this is a good one coming in. There's two coming our way for the Sierra. Let's look at San Francisco and the Bay Area. We've got some rain chances here, some this morning out there already, actually. And then we get a couple of days break. And then the next system comes in on Saturday with rain coming in then dry by Sunday. So the rain chance is adding up here. And this in particular is going to be in the Pacific Northwest. This is an atmospheric river setting up as we get into the weekend, that second storm system coming in. And that's really going to be focused right here in southern Oregon, Northern California, a category 2 on the atmospheric river scale. And so that gives us sort of where the brunt of the moisture will be. Right now, you can see you've got one system down here in Southern California with rain falling in Los Angeles this morning. Good luck with your commute out there. You're going to need to slow it down. We also have a little bit of moisture coming in here, moving in across the west coast of Oregon, Northern California. That's not the big deal. That's coming in as we get into the weekend for you up there, that next system. But for now, a little snow at Mammoth Lake, 20 degrees. Nice to see the cooler temperatures, right? We've got some rain falling in Los Angeles. Temps are in the 50s. Actually, it's a flood advisory because there has been some heavier rain at times. So again, be careful on that drive this morning. Watching this system swing out, a little dip in the jet stream is helping us out, allowing it to be cooler. That's what we need to get those snow levels to drop out here in the west here. That's why most of our storms have had snow levels so high. We really just haven't gotten much at all. Ski resorts have been feeling this as well here, especially in California. So by the end of the week, with our next system coming in and some cooler temperatures in place, now we get the chance to add up some snowfall and, of course, the rain as well. Now, when it comes to snow, be ready for some travel issues. I know it's been a while since we've had to deal with some of these travel conditions. We'll be watching that for you end of the week that we're talking about now, Thursday into Friday, that system dropping down. Here we go into the weekend. This is the big push of moisture, I think, when some of the biggest travel problems will be getting into parts of the Sierra. And again, that snowfall adding up. Winter storm warnings are up already. This is for that first system, looking ahead to the next one as well. Then what happens to all of this as it heads through the middle of the country, Alex? Yeah, that's the one that becomes the big East Coast weather maker. So let's take you into our virtual view of New Orleans, starting the day here in rain. Look, Louisiana needs it. The state is under drought conditions, about half of it under extreme or exceptional drought, actually. So this is good news. And this won't be our only round of beneficial rain this week. We've got more storms coming in by Friday. Rain with us here as we kick off the weekend. So let's get into all of that. The chance of storms actually into next week, too. with some chances of going severe. So first up, though, is the end of the week rain, which comes in Friday and Friday night here. Likely it is mainly just rain here, pretty widespread. Rain with temps in the 60s and then cooling down by more than 5 or 6 degrees by the time we get into Saturday. So a little bit of a change coming in. Here's the energy that's going to drive that. Comes out of the west. We're going to see that move through the say parts of the southwest like New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma. And as this moves its way here into the southeast, we're going to see the moisture return across the area. Upper level disturbance combined with an area of low pressure that will be developing will be drawing in the moisture and helping make it rain. We see this happen Friday to Saturday. Some of this rain could be heavy at times. There is the chance for some thunderstorms here. We'll keep an eye on that and, of course, fine tune this forecast. Watching mainly southern Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, parts of the Florida Panhandle, including from Pensacola over towards Destin and Panama City. Watching that rain track in and really throughout the entire zone. We've got rain chances up to Arkansas, throughout the entire state of Mississippi. Another spot that needs the rain, Tennessee. We also need the rainfall. It's coming our way. Gotta watch out what's happening for us here in North Carolina, maybe Virginia. I know you saw that pink flare up. There could be a little bit of ice that we have to worry about on Saturday morning. So we'll talk more about that coming up at about 40 past the hour. But we've got rainfall coming in. Some of it could be quite heavy across, especially the southern states, just the closest to the moisture and the biggest access to having more heavier rainfall. Southern Louisiana over to the Florida Panhandle. This is where we could get some heavy rainfall. Both the GFS and the European are telling us that. And looking ahead to Birmingham, where we've got rain coming in too, Friday night into the first part of Saturday. Some of that rain out there could be pretty widespread and soaking. Alex.
Well, don't forget our question. Wow, that's a long stretch.
I know.
That's a really long stretch.
Well, it's more than 1 inch of snow.
Yes,
Yeah.
you've seen some flakes, but in terms of it adding up, yeah, absolutely. Well, you would certainly prefer to be dealing with the flakes of snow than what we could see here in portions of, well, Virginia, the Carolinas, even into northeast Georgia. The possibility is there for some ice.
It's a small window,
yes,
but it happens to be, I think, at a time of day where it can catch people off guard. So we're going to talk about this chance of ice accumulating here in a portion of the whole storm system as it comes on through. It's really just, I would say a couple hours where we're going to have that chance, but a glaze of ice is a glaze of ice and can certainly make travel very dangerous.
That is all you need. I mean, when it comes to icing, the tiniest bit can cause some headaches out there. So be on the lookout. Again, there's that possibility for the glaze, making it tough for travels, not just for cars. Remember, just walking on the sidewalk can be tough as well.
Some brisket broken. Too many stories about that. So this is how it begins. We're talking about the weekend storm. It comes in on Friday. Here comes the moisture. It's at the beginning, which is when we'll have enough cold air kind of stuck in place. And the fact that it's overnight too, I think
that does not help.
Problem.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a key factor. If this was for Saturday at 4 p.m., we probably aren't talking about icing being an issue, but it's early morning, overnight early morning, cold enough, locked in, and so that's what we'll find, that chance for some freezing rain. But you mentioned it's not going to last forever. A few hours, and then we'll start to warm things up, at least at the surface.
I mean, the way the atmosphere is working here is we're bringing in the warm air, and a lot of that's going to come in aloft at first. That's where the moisture is coming from the south. And so, you'll have rain come down to the surface where it's freezing, and then you'll have that freezing rain. But then after that, I mean, look, by mid-afternoon, that's not an issue anymore. Now we're looking at where is the rain snow line. That becomes the big issue. Exactly.
So that's the key, is if we can get through those early morning hours with the ice and not have any issues, we'll look much better during the afternoon hours. And then the attention turns to where do we find the snow and the rain.
The precip type. It's always so challenging. So looking at the snowy side of things, we may get some snow down here into the central Appalachians and southern Appalachians. We'll watch cities like Asheville. Charlotte, I don't think you'll get any, but maybe you see a flake at the beginning. It's possible. Got to get up early for that.
Yeah, absolutely. The farther north you have, the better chance to get into, again, some of that snow. Farther to the south is where it becomes a little more touch and go when it comes to at least the ice situation there. But as you mentioned, Jen, some snow there working out through parts of the Piedmont.
I mean, both models, that was the Euro, the snowier model right now. The GFS, you've got a look at the, still snow in the forecast, just not as much here. So still wintry weather that we have to worry about. And of course, with the ice, when it accretes, it can become heavy and result in building damage.
Yeah, that's right. And we got meteorologist Paul Goodloe showing us just how much trouble ice can cause. Someone happy with the winter so far.
For now.
That's a key point.
I have a feeling things in the next week, and even in Arkansas, are going to change to the colder side by quite a bit.
If we ask this question again at the end of next week,
we should actually do an experiment,
Well, you can go to Thread, send us your comments, also share your pics and video with us using the hashtag YesTV.
It's like pennies. But, I mean,
it's not the distance to the sun, as you guys know, that matters. It's the sun angle.
It's the tilt.
Yeah.
Right. It's the zenith angle of the sun's rays. But anyway, that's another thing.
That's why it doesn't matter. But it's still interesting to talk about. And I always find it interesting that our latest sunrises are happening about now. Tomorrow, the next day, depends where you are. But for Atlanta, it's the 8th, our latest sunrise of the year. And then after that, everything feels better, right?
I'm with Jen on this one. The more bright, the more daylight we get, it's all good for the psyche.
It depends where you are. I mean, but you look at this map, which shows you the daylight difference, winter versus summer. In the north, especially, it's a lot. You think about in Montana, North Dakota, Minnesota, a huge change from summer versus winter in terms of the amount of daylight that you get.
Yeah, absolutely. Which, you know, for some could be a tough time when you're in the dark for so long. All right. Did you catch all the Game of Thrones references there?
I did not.
Oh, they were full in there. Music too, as well.
The music too.
Thank you for choosing America's Morning Headquarters to keep you updated here through the mid-morning hours.
Well, the Weather Channel has you covered, of course, from coast to coast.
And we will help you plan for all the big events in your neighborhood. And it's all about planning around the weather through the week and into the weekend.
And you know what? We haven't had to do a whole lot of planning around the weather this winter, or for that matter, it seems like the last couple of winters. It may change here in the next week or two.
Trouble may be on the way.
It's here.
It's here.
It's already here. It's starting in the west, and we've got rain in places like Los Angeles, but snow. And, you know, it has not actually been that snowy in the west here. Most systems have been pretty mild. So outside of like mountains in Colorado, I think we haven't had a lot of this. And here it comes.
Here it comes. We'll see it through at least Sunday. Cascades and the Sierra getting involved in some of the snow, and then points east from there as well.
Yeah, and you know, we've had a lot of rain, as you mentioned, in California, for example, rainier than average over 2023 as a whole. But the snow levels have been so high, this might change a little bit. We get some snow, not in the Rockies, but also in the plains, too.
System swings through New Mexico, maybe the Texas Panhandle and Oklahoma by Friday. Then to the weekend, the swings off the East Coast.
Yeah, we do. We have to watch out for the possibility of our first really accumulating, perhaps shovelable snow. A lot of uncertainties we mentioned in the forecast. A lot of details yet to sort out. This forecast is by no means set in stone.
Well, especially when they're as different as they are.
Yeah.
This is the snowier of the models right now, the European model. And by the way, the GFS used to be snowier. It's just gone through some transitions in the latest output.
Think about that, and you pointed this out. It's been going through a lot of changes here. It just doesn't want to be consistent. So take it with a grain of salt.
This is why we got to keep talking about what can happen in the atmosphere to make either one of these play out.
Little wiggles in the forecast will make huge differences in the outcome. We'll talk about this because, of course, we have a lot of uncertainty yet to unpack with this system. As Jen and Alex